company called A Butterfly Tale. I get invited to schools and daycares and private parties to help children and adults learn about the monarch metamorphosis through hands-on interaction. What I wanted to show you was the seed balls that I'm going to make for my upcoming garden next spring and fall. In Georgia, it gets really cold here, and the wild perennial flowers need what's called cold stratification for the seeds to make sure they will actually germinate during the spring and the summer months. As we all know, in Georgia, we have some crazy storms out here. We get a lot of water in a short period of time, and it tends to erode some of the soil and such. So what I decided, instead of just planting some seeds in specific places, I was going to make seed balls so they could kind of withstand some of the crazy storms and hold up and be able to be cold stratified during our winter months here. And I would have them still in that same place that I wanted to grow them. So over here we have some seed balls that I made with what's called a frost aster. It's a wildflower. It's white, very small looking. So I snagged some of those from a field and I dried them out and I put them in here. That's why this looks a little kind of, when I say furry right there, I did not separate out the seeds. I just simply took half clay, half potting soil, and then I just crumbled up the heads of the dried out asters that went to seed and just added them on in. And over here I have used a different color craft clay, and I used worm castings and also common milkweed seeds in the area, and hopefully have the seeds in the same place by the end of winter for them to germinate during the spring and summer. Here are a couple examples of clay. This one is considered a terracotta color. These both are by Crayola. You can find it in any craft store. Usually the bigger craft stores have some type of coupon, so I recommend looking for that online first. I will say that with the terracotta color, you need gloves unless you want to really, really wash your hands off well afterwards. So if you're doing it with a kid, sometimes it's more fun to let them get their hands a little more dirty and such. And you might consider using the white clay then, because that comes off the hands a lot better and doesn't really stain them when you first get through the terracotta. It kind of looks like you're never going to get that red off your fingers. This is already moist clay, but you will be adding a little bit of water into the clay with the other material and the seeds to make the seed balls. I wanted to show you these. So this pretty much retails for about $7, but you can easily get it for around $4. If you want to go big, make a lot of seed balls, I recommend getting a heavier or larger size. This is 5 pounds, and this is 2.5 pounds. Today we're going to be working with a wildflower called a tick-seed sunflower. It's in the aster family. It is found natively in Georgia. I found mine in a field. Often you'll see them growing on the roadside. It's fairly common. The leaves are elongated and sawtooth. I just simply use a Tupperware container and dry these out if I can. It's sunny, I put them out in the sun. Otherwise, I keep them inside where it's a little bit warmer and they'll dry a little bit faster for me. This is a leftover dried out tick-seed sunflower. I just break off one of the dried out blooms, and then I crumble it up to a bowl. And I usually don't worry about getting all the other extra parts out of the seeds. I have the seeds and some of the extra parts of the flowers. I do keep the stems out. Some more. and wild tick seed, sunflower seed. There we go. Time to put together the ingredients. So let's go over those right now. This is the clay, art clay, craft clay. As you can see, it's very moist and pliable, but you'll still need a little bit of water to mix that in with all the ingredients together to make those balls, but not too much water. They do offer dry clay like this, and you would simply just use more water in it. I've just done this because it's a little bit quicker to make the balls. Here I have worm castings. You can also use like a potting soil. This is about a half a cup and this is about a half a cup. You want to make sure that these two amounts are the same. That works out really well for making the seed balls. And over here I have what I showed you earlier, the wild yellow sunflower seeds along with the other part of the flower they were in. Now these seeds probably measure out to just add a teaspoon full, maybe a little bit over that, and that's what we're looking for when we put a half cup and a half cup together. That makes a pretty good ratio for the seed balls. And I have a little water here to get it all moist. So let's go ahead and mix all these together. So go ahead and put my worm castings in, put my seeds in. Usually do a mix-up of this first to get these all together. And yes, you'll notice I don't have gloves on. I like to get my hands dirty. This is also a wonderful activity for kids because, as we all know, kids love to get their hands in the natural dirt and clay, and also roll balls. So if you want to keep your little one busy for a while and get some help making your seed balls, this is an excellent idea for them. Not to mention the fact that you can talk to them about why you're doing this and show them where you're going to plant it and how it germinates and grows during the spring and summer months, and then watching all of the different butterflies and insects and bees and such come along and feed off of the wildflower nectar. So I kind of break this up and put it around to get it distributed, just to get it started a little more spread out. As you can see, the clay is very clayey and sticky. So I do that, I press it down a little, and then I add just a little bit of water. I'm going to actually do this a little more scientific than I usually do, and I'm going to measure out a tablespoon of water. I think what I've been using is probably about 2 tablespoons of water. So let's try that and see how that starts to mix in. I go around the sides and make sure I get everything, so I've got all the seeds I could possibly mix in here. Really squish. I usually make my seed ball for these about that big. Put them right down there. If you used less liquid, it probably looked a little less muddy, but these work just fine and they dry out wonderful. I take about, I'd say, since it's still a little cool right now with the weather, even though it's indoors with a heater, it's probably going to take about 4 days for these guys to dry out. The best way to plant these seed balls, if you look at this, is like halfway above the ground. So wherever you're going to plant it, make sure part of it's still showing above the ground, because you want the seed to be able to get to the light and come up during the spring. There we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Very simple and fun. I'm sure you can see right now that the kids would just absolutely love doing this. I love doing it. Thank you for watching and visiting our website and our YouTube channel. Again, this is Roberta Vigil with a butterflytale.com.